Heating a home means burning something. It always has. Yet for 600 years, monks in the Judean desert kept their carved homes warm through freezing nights and cool through 40-degree days while burning nothing at all. They had no choice. Smoke would have shown raiders exactly where they were hiding. So they cut their cells into the rock in clusters they called a lavra, a Greek word for the lane they lived along, and let the stone carry the heat. The rock was doing something stranger than holding in warmth, and the water came from a source the desert itself was hiding. To understand what they built, the obstacles come first. The Judean desert is one of the harshest inhabited places on Earth. By day, the sun baked the bare ground to a punishing 40 degrees, and that same ground gave all of its heat back to the open sky after dark, so the air fell toward freezing within hours. Rain came to barely a few inches across a whole year. Almost nothing wooden grew anywhere in reach, and over all of it sat the need to vanish, because a fire large enough to warm a room sent up a column of smoke that told every raider in the valley where a man was hiding. The first of these monks arrived in the 4th century. Chariton, who had come west from what is now Turkey, founded the earliest 3 of these desert settlements. A monk named Euthemius, born in 377, established his own in the year 420, and the historian Yizhar Hirschfeld, whose 1992 survey for Yale remains the definitive record of these places, counted dozens more strung along the cliffs. 4 problems pressed on every cell: heat that would not hold, cold that would not relent, water that would not fall, and the constant need to leave no trace. The answer the tradition reached for looked, at first, like surrender. The monks stopped trying to build a shelter on top of the desert. They went down into it. If the way these forgotten systems get rebuilt here is worth your time, consider subscribing. Every week, this series reconstructs one monastic way of living the modern world walked away from. Now, back to the rock. The first thing the rock gave them was a temperature that refused to move. A few feet into stone, the rock stops following the weather. It holds a single value all year, warmer than the freezing night above it and far cooler than the blistering day, because the earth carries so much mass that a few hot afternoons or a few cold nights barely register inside it. Modern engineers have a name for the principle. They call it ground coupling, and it is the exact mechanism inside every geothermal heat pump sold in the United States today. The kind that warms a house in January and cools it in July without a furnace doing the heavy lifting. The earth itself becomes the battery. The monks reached the same physics with a chisel. Cut a cell deep enough into rock and its walls settle at the ground's steady temperature and stay there. The clearest measurement of this survives not in the desert, but on the far side of the same empire, in the volcanic country of Cappadocia, where Byzantine Christians carved whole underground refuges into soft stone. The chambers there hold a constant 10 degrees, while the surface above runs from snow in winter to 40 degrees in summer. That is what a lavra cell was doing every hour of every day. Its walls had simply stopped listening to the sky. But a temperature-stable box cut into rock is still a sealed box, and a sealed box, in a land with a few inches of rain, has no water. Water was the problem the desert seemed to make unsolvable, and the monks solved it by refusing to start from scratch. Centuries before they arrived, Jewish kings and then Herod the Great had built fortresses across this same desert, and those fortresses ran on elaborate waterworks, long aqueducts that caught the rare runoff from the hills and fed it into rock-cut cisterns dug to hold a whole year of supply. By the time the monks came, the fortresses were ruins. The cisterns were not. So the monks raised their cells directly onto the old waterworks, inheriting a system of channels and reservoirs engineered 800 years earlier that had never stopped working. One desert stronghold tells the whole story. It rose first as an ancient fortress, was reinforced by Herod, And in the Byzantine centuries, a monastery was built on its ruins. 2 aqueducts fed it, one drawing from a dammed stream nearby, and the other diverting a channel from miles off. And together, they filled more than a dozen cisterns cut into the hillside. When the rare desert storm finally broke, the runoff that would have rushed uselessly down the rock was caught, turned, and stored in stone. The monks did not conjure water out of nothing. They harvested the few hours a year the sky gave it and made those hours last 12 months. Heat held, water stored, and yet the hardest of the 3 problems is the one almost nobody pictures: breathing inside solid rock. Air was the quiet killer. A chamber sealed into rock with people inside goes stale fast, and deep enough it turns deadly. The monks answered with the oldest trick in passive engineering, the vertical shaft. They cut narrow channels running up through the rock to the open sky, and the warm used air, being lighter, climbed those shafts and pulled fresh air in behind it through lower openings. It is the same force that draws a draft up a chimney, running on nothing but the difference between warm air and cool air. The carved refuges of Cappadocia show the scale this reached. More than 50 ventilation shafts thread that underground country, one of them dropping a full 180 feet through solid stone. Inside a Lafra cell, the same principle ran smaller, keeping the air alive with no moving part at all. The rock punished a careless cut, and the record shows 3 ways it did. A chamber opened with only one shaft could not drive the draft, and the air in it went stale, because the system needed 2 openings at different heights before it would breathe. A cell cut too near the surface tracked the heat and cold outside and lost the steady warmth, because the depth was never only about hiding, it was the thing that held the temperature still. And a shaft blocked or narrowed for a single use broke the whole cell, because that one channel was quietly carrying more than air. Each of those failures pointed at the same buried truth. The 3 systems were never really 3. What the careless cutters missed is the thing that makes the whole design remarkable. That vertical shaft, the one carrying the air, was in many of these complexes the very same shaft that carried the water. The deepest channels ran down past the living chambers to reach groundwater far below, dug wide enough and deep enough to serve as wells, so a single vertical cut through the rock breathed the home and watered it at once. In that same underground refuge, the largest shaft, the one nearly 180 feet deep, did exactly this, drawing fresh air for the people inside and lifting water from the bottom through the same opening. The hole that kept them breathing was the hole that kept them drinking. That double duty is what turned deep-sealed rock from a grave into a home. And the part that sounds like pure hardship turns out to be the design itself. The monks could not burn fuel because smoke meant discovery. That single ban is what forced everything else into place. A home that cannot light a fire has to take its warmth from the rock, its water from stored runoff and a deep shaft, and its air from the pull of a chimney that needs no flame. The next entry in this series leaves the desert behind and climbs into a Himalayan cave at 25 degrees below zero, where a very different tradition built a fully running home out of a frozen mountain for nothing it did not already own. A cave cut into the rock, a small stove of mud brick burning dried yak dung, the only fuel for miles. Yak butter fed the body and, set alight in a bowl, lit the room. And a breathing practice the tradition calls tu ma, a Tibetan word for inner heat, lets a man raise the warmth of his own body at will. No furnace, no bill, in a place that should have killed a man in a single night. 4 monks, 1 frozen peak, and a home built warm out of solid ice and stone. That is the story already on screen. Click it. Stay warm wherever you are. See you inside, Monk Tenzin.